Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do is, this is the switch we're after. We need to get the connections that are below this switch. So first thing that's got to happen is this console is going to lift up and then slide forward. Now one thing we want to watch out for is any damage that resting this up here may have, or back here on this. So one of the first things I want to do is protect this. So we'll put a towel up here to protect that, like that, and then we'll put a towel back here on these to protect that. This gear shift has got to come out of the way. So first thing we'll do is we will get the key. There we go. Okay, so we'll press that twice, and that will allow us to put it into neutral without actually starting the engine. And then we can close that and close the door, and now it's in neutral, so we should be able to just lift this up like that, and we should be able to, that's not going to turn off because it's in neutral, but that's okay. So this should just continue to lift up like that and slide forward. There we go. Okay, and that slides forward and kind of work that loose there, and that gets us access to this switch right here. So I'm going to put this towel right here to protect that. Got the towel up here to protect this, and this is what we're after. So we're just going to go ahead and squeeze this connector here, the back part of the connector, and that will slide out like that. So that's what we want. Now we're ready for the actual unit. All right, so here's our module that we've got. One thing about this is this connector, this female connector right here, does not exist. And so we tried making different connectors, and it just turned out to be too difficult. So what we ended up doing was just making this. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take the vehicle harness and you're going to slide it in, and it just gently fits in like that. And one thing you're going to want to make sure is that the 2 pins on the left go into the 2 holes on the left, and the 2 pins on the right go into the 2 holes on the right, that they don't cross or anything like that. And there's 2 holes in the center of this that have nothing in it, and so those will plug into nothing. So basically that will just gently slip in like that. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll take 2 zip ties that will be included. We'll put 2 of them together like this. And we're going to slip one of them through there like this. And this is just so that this doesn't wiggle out. I doubt it would, but this is a just in case. So we'll just zip tie that like that, and now there's no chance of that coming out. So then we'll just take these nippers here, we'll clip off the excess, make sure you don't get the wiring harness there. So now it's like that, and you can see that's not going to easily come out, and if you need to ever take it back apart, there's no permanent modifications or anything. It's all perfectly set. So then we're just going to take the other end of this connector, and we're going to push it right up into that switch, just like that, and it will click. And that is basically the hardest part of the whole thing. So we can just tuck that down there now, and now we're going to route this power wire over on the other side. Good. Okay, so now we want to feed that wire back across over to this side, and then what we're going to do is kind of put our hand up in here, and you can reach in here and then drop this fuse tap down in there. Just kind of fish it. There it is. And then we're going to want to pull this through and pull any of that excess Kind of make sure that's tucked in there nice and neat. Like that. We'll just leave this down here for the moment so we can put this back together. So now we've got our module plugged into the button. Our wire is through and down the other side. Now we can begin to put this back together here. So this thing will just kind of come down into here like this, just like that. Okay, push that, make sure it's all the way back, and then that will just lock in like that. Put that down up here. Got no damage up here. That looks great. That's all locked back in park. And now we're ready to go do that fuse tap on the other side. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna tuck this wire up under here. Puts that up in there. As we go towards here, it gets kind of tight. We're gonna get that wire around this right here, like that. And we're gonna pull it up. There we go, like that. Tuck that up in there. All right, that's all completely clear of the gas pedal there, and that's what we want. So now what we're gonna do is just take this and we're gonna go up here into this area up here. Just kind of pull it like that. We'll tuck this guy back in here. There we go, like that, so that stays out of sight. And then we're gonna come along here. We're gonna come over to our fuse panel right here. Let's see if I can get some light in there. And we're gonna pop this fuse panel off right there. And the fuse that we are after is, we've got this 5, 7.5, 7.5, 10, 10. Then here, and then this 15 right here. And according to our thing right here, that is, get some better light here. So if we count up, that is this guy right here, this P outlet or power outlet number 1, which is 15 amp. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull that little blue 15 amp fuse there. Okay, now the one thing is getting that fuse out may be a little difficult, and you need a fuse puller. So the fuse puller that's located on this vehicle is up here. You'll pop the hood, and it's actually under this fuse box right here. So if you flip this over, they've included this nice little fuse puller here. So that can help you get that fuse out. So if you need it, it's there, because it can be a little tricky getting that fuse out of there. Okay, so we're going to take that 15 amp fuse that came out of there. That's going to go into this fuse tap right here, like that, just like that. And now this is going to go back up into there. So, see how film this here. So that's just going to get plugged in just like that. And we're going to route any of this extra wire that we have. We're going to tuck it in up here, kind of out of the way of anything, like that. So now you can see that fuse tap's plugged in. That wire just kind of runs way up here, out of the way of everything. Make sure it's away from the brake pedal and the gas pedal. And that is basically it. Now you're going to want to take this fuse cover. This fuse cover won't fit back on because it's so thin once you have a fuse tap. So you want to put this in a safe place. A lot of my customers put it in their glove box in case they need it, because it's not thin enough to put that with a fuse tap back on. But that should be good, so next we'll test it. Okay, that should be the install. So we're gonna start it up. Make sure our light turns on like it should. It goes off, boots up, and there's our light. Stop start is now disabled every time you start the vehicle. We're good to go.